Yes, guys, welcome back to another show, another top five show. Guys, you know the score. We're going to pick 5 things to debate about and 5 things to debate about only. And today I've got a packed panel. I've got my man K-Mac joining me. K-Mac, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Hope everyone's well.
Cool. Ben, my man, how you doing?
Well, good, mate. Thank you. Not done this in a while, so yeah, looking forward to get stuck into it.
My man G back in the house. How you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. It's a nice sunny day. I'm easy. I hope everyone's good, man. Hope everyone's good.
It's a nice funny day.
That's what I like it. That's what I like it.
That's how I like it. My man Cav is back. I think it's been like a year since we had Cav on the show. But how you doing, man?
Does that make me an OG?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that. No, I'm good. Like G said, sun's shining. No reason to stress until you guys start talking, but we'll see how that goes.
There you go. The stress will start. Don't worry. The stress will start. And Sadiq, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Yeah, all good. Enjoying my last day off before back to work tomorrow. So yeah, all good.
Excellent, guys. So, guys, we are second episode of the top 5 show. As I said, 5 things to debate that we're going to talk about. It should be a good one. So make sure, guys, you've got your drinks, your snacks, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the share. And later on in the show, and all the mods in the chat, could you please put everyone who's got a channel, could you put their links in the live chat so people can go and subscribe to these guys and Twitter accounts and all that sort of stuff so they can follow them as well. I'd appreciate it. But guys, I don't know if you heard. So before we started, Premier League put out a statement. Apparently, they're going to look at it's starting from Wolves. I think I read from British say look like they go try and scrap VAR next season. Yeah, I believe Sweden did. Sweden do it this season? I believe they did it already.
Yeah.
K-Mac, let's start with VAR. Go you, K-Mac, first. Your opinion of VAR? Should it stay? Should it go?
Go is an absolute unmitigated disaster. Like it just spoils football now. Like I've never been to a game on the ground now since VAR's been in because I just think it takes away the whole joy of goals, and you know you got to wait, and then you've also got to wait, and then you look down at the pitch and go, oh, who's the ref? Oh God, it's him. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, but I think there'll be a lot of teams which will vote for it out. But I do think City will probably go against it.
What, Ben? What do you reckon, man?
Yeah, I'm still undecided because I don't feel like the technology is the issue itself. We've seen it work in other countries, and why in the biggest league and the most the league where it's got the most money. Why is it a problem here, but it's not a problem anywhere else? Well, it is a problem in other countries, but other countries do get it right as well. I just think it's the people first start working behind it, and it's the constant change of rules that we get every season in, season out. There always seems to be a new rule. I mean, I've seen there's one proposed rule. I don't know if it's going to happen where an offside is going to change again to being like quite a distance offside for it to be offside from next season. I don't know if that's coming in or not. I mean, I hope it will with Nunes if he's leading.
Darwin still be offside.
But yeah, I just think it's a combination of so many factors. I don't think the technology is the issue. They've had a similar thing in cricket as well for decades now, and they've never had an issue there. So I'm still undecided. I don't know whether they should scrap it altogether. I think the semi-automated offsides are coming, which should be positive for offsides at least. But yeah, I just think it's the clowns in charge of the system really that need to be replaced more than anything.
And G, like Ben says there, the system is a joke, ain't it? But the system's crap, but so also the officiating. So is it better just scrapping VAR or scrapping the officials and training new ones up and keeping VAR?
Yeah, I don't really want to echo and just regurgitate what Ben said, but exactly what Ben said. I think it's kind of calm though. I don't really have too much of a problem with VAR. I don't have that many issues. It is just more the people running it. I think the Premier League has probably one of the worst in the world when it comes to people who officiate it. So that's always going to be a problem. And the actual technology is fantastic. It is, no matter what we think and how deep we want to go into it. It is actually fantastic. The game needs to have this level of technology. Like every top sports has this kind of technology for a reason, because it's going to be difficult for humans to be able to determine certain factors and stuff like that. If you take it away now in today's day and age, I think you will have more problems than you would if you just kept it in, even with the same officials. So keep it, just get better officials. That's all I say.
Saying you, man, is it an official problem? Is it a human problem? Should we have?
Nah.
What do you recommend?
It's the people running it. Obviously, they're complete imbeciles. A lot of them. They're terrible. Look, honestly, how can you sit there with about 10 screens? You can pause, you can rewind, you can replay from 10 different angles and still get it wrong. And then let's go a step further. If you recognize you've made a mistake, you can't stop play to go and rectify that error. And we just have to continue playing. The Diaz goal away at Spurs and stuff. The whole thing just seems crazy. And to be honest, the system's absolutely fine. The system's pretty good, to be honest with you. It's quite intelligent and it works well. It's just the people running it. And it's quite sad that in today's day and age, with the amount of people that we have that love the sport and would want to be involved in the sport, we can't find people that are just capable of actually using this system properly and without bias. So I think it's a sad state that we're even considering scrapping it. We should scrap the people using it, to be honest with you.
That's a good point, Sadiq. Like Kev's bringing up there about the people using it. Like, should the Premier League be looking at this differently and thinking like the technology's there and the technology is good? You're just putting buffoons in front of it that don't know how to operate a machinery. Or so are the Premier League looking at it wrong? Should they be looking at the officials more than the actual system that we use? And I've always said it. Like, I think there's a problem with your mate being in the VAR box and your mate being on the field as being a referee. And you don't really want to go against your friend. Is that an issue as well? What's more of the problem here?
Just to echo what everyone says, it's not the tools, it's the trader. Do you know what I mean? Everyone who's using these tools ain't capable of using the tools. Do you know what I mean? I think they need to go to some sort of college or some sort of university and try and learn what it is they're supposed to be doing, what they're supposed to be looking out for. Because as everyone sort of said, there's nothing wrong with the actual technology. Technology is fine. It's the people using it. And if the people using it are constantly making mistakes to the point where now they're thinking of scrapping it, and as I mentioned, as everyone's mentioned, it's not down to the technology, it's down to the people using it, then they need to look at their personnel and either get rid or send them some sort of training so that these things don't happen. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, if someone's driving, your first car's not going to be a sports car because you're not going to know how to handle it. So only after you've been driving for a number of years and get used to using certain speeds and driving at a certain level, then you can upgrade to those sort of things. These guys are jumping in Ferraris and I've been used to driving Fiat Puntos. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it sounds like to me. I definitely think that they can go back to school and do some training on it and learn how to use it. I don't think they need to scrap it. I think they've just had so much backlash, especially this season, that it's like, and it's been talked about by everybody that and mainly in this country, do you know what I mean? That it's all eyes are on them, so they feel the pressure, and that's why they want to make drastic changes.
Yeah, there's obviously an issue. I've always said it myself. There is so much money floating around. You're always going to get the corruption talk, ain't you? Every time, like with these officials giving dodgy decisions and stuff like that. And then, as everyone says, they have 5 minutes or whatever they want to do looking at the monitor and still get things wrong. And how can communication be incorrect between the on-field official and the person in your VAR box? And they mishear things, but they've got about 7 people around them that can correct them, and they make up. It seems like the handball rule at the beginning of the season changed halfway through the season because they got calls wrong or they didn't know how to bring it to law. It's just, we've seen when we've seen goals being like they said they can't stop games, but to change a decision, but then weeks later they stop again to change a decision. It's all you can't. Yeah, no
Against
one.
us.
Yeah,
Against us, that.
no one can keep up with it. That's the thing. No one can keep up with it because the officials don't know what they're doing. So the VAR, the system is there. It's operated. It's there to be used and used correctly. But when someone comes along and goes, right, I'm going to change the rules, that the system really don't know what it's doing. So I know the system's telling me that offside, but the rules have changed now, but we haven't changed the operating system. So it's like someone trying to use Windows 95 on a Mac. You know what I mean? It's like it's not going to work. You know what I mean? It's just not going to work.
Do you know what I don't get, Jay?
Go on.
Right, you know the referee on the pitch has, as the ultimate say, right? He's head honcho. I don't get why, because he's seeing it live and he's making the calls, right? And it's not just fouls, it's not just penalties and what have you. It's throw-ins and it's everything else, right? And he's trying to remind players of certain things to make sure they keep their heads, and he's trying to keep temperaments, and he's trying to control the game whilst letting it flow, right? That's the referee's position. So he's got so much to do on the pitch. Why not just let the guy in the VAR room with all of the cameras and stuff make the final decisions? Like, then it's taken away from the referee's position on the pitch when he's surrounded by all the players out of his hands. So if there's say he blows up for a penalty, like the guy, he'll get referred to VAR, and VAR will say to the referee, look, go and have a look at that and make a decision. Why put the referee in the spotlight? Why does he need to make the decision? You've seen it. You've told him to go and check it. You're a referee also. Why don't you decide and just let the guy on the pitch just be the voice, the guy that tells the players what's happening? And that way, the players ain't going to surround the referee so much. We're not going to lose more time. Because what the player's going to do, start screaming up to the screen in the stadium and stuff. Like I still don't get why the referee on the pitch has so much power and control. And what it does, which is I think has been part of the biggest reason, is it gives the referees a name. Like they suddenly become the star of the show. They ain't the stars of the show. The players on the pitch are the stars of the show. So take that power out of their hands. Let them officiate the game, but let the key decisions be made by the guy that has all the information in front of him. That's one little tweak I would probably make.
Can I give you a solution on it? Look, I've been thinking about this as well. I've thought about this for a while actually. It wasn't really broke. Like the system, football wasn't broken like before VAR came in. Like we needed goal line technology. That's fine. We got goal line technology. We needed something to give clear penalties. Yeah, I think that's all we need. Like all you need to do is get rid of VAR because of the whole stopping the game and the fans not being able to celebrate and the players, which I hate. I absolutely hate that. And it's made it quite emotionalist now, football grounds, because of it, and with players as well. Get 2 extra linesmen, so you haven't got 1 linesman on each half, so you've got 2 on each half, yeah, which means you've got more eyes, and maybe you can have a linesman that just watches 1 set of players, like 1 team, and the other linesman watches another team, and then you've got 4 sets of eyes on the lines, and the 4th official can actually do some decisions, because the 4th official does absolutely nothing. I have no idea what the 4th official does, apart from argue with the managers and hold up the substitution board.
Yeah, this season the job's to be calm down Jurgen Klopp, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like the 4th official should have a mic and be able to go, you know what, ref, you missed that. Like I'd just seen it, because the 4th official can see the whole pitch as well. Like, and they might be able to spot things, but for me, you either go total AI, which is in Europe, which works by the way, and mic up the refs. They did it in Australia. They do it in Australia now, and they did it in the Women's World Cup, I think, and it was amazing. So they mic up the refs and they go total AI, or you get rid of it and you maybe introduce more referees, like more people to make decisions on the pitch or around the pitch. But right now, it's just something that we can use as an excuse. and I don't want to have more excuses like, oh, the reason why we lost the league is because of VAR. Oh God, just either get rid of it, go AI, and mic up the refs. The refs need micing up now. I think they need to be more transparent now, like 100%.
I mean, that's a great point. Like, I don't know what everyone else on the panel thinks, but were officials better, before VAR was introduced? Was we all sitting there? I think you have to sometimes. Human error happens. It happens in life all the time. We don't ask for a computer replay for arguments and stuff like that. Although sometimes I wish I did. But human error happens. Have officials got? I don't know if they got worse, but have they got more lazy because it's like they don't want to officiate the game no more? They want something else to do it for them. I don't know. It's just, have they always just been this shit and it's just been shown now because of VAR? What is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I probably would say the more that, like, they've probably always been, they might have been a little bit better in quality because, like, let's say, like, during the 2000s kind of era, like that kind of era, we had, I think, a lot better officials. So maybe that. But I also think as well, with how complicated the rules have then become, I think that's played more of a part than anything in terms of what gets determined for certain things, what's a foul, what isn't a foul. If it's on the line, is it a foul? Did he actually foul him on the line? Like, I don't remember, again, people would have to remind me, but I don't remember having that issue. If someone fouls you on the line, like now it's like, oh, if it's on the line, it's a penalty. If it's not, I don't remember ever having that kind of issue. Like, if it's in the box, it's a penalty. That's
it's
it.
where
Like,
they change the rules, G. That's what I was saying earlier. It seems like the rules change every week.
Yeah, and this is it. This is the problem. So that's why I say we oversimplify. Football is such a basic game, just like every other sport. It's basic. There's only a few things that are supposed to happen. So the rules within that should kind of mirror that to a certain degree. Even the fact that even if you want to say that, oh, football's advanced and moved on, it hasn't moved on so much that we should have this amount of rules and so many different things need to happen in order for this to be the result. I think what's happened for me is we're leaving too much up to perception. Now, when you do that, it's fine, but then fans are going to moan. If 1 week it's a foul, but next week it's not a foul, that's why I never complain about referee decisions anymore, because I said the problem is the rule is it's kind of down to perception. If this referee thinks it's a foul and we all scream, oh, that should be a penalty, technically it's his perception of that because there's no real clarification. The ball hits your hand. I always use this example. In basketball, it doesn't matter if the ball hits your foot accidentally. If it hits your foot, it is now the other team's ball. There isn't even but he didn't mean to hit. You don't mean to hit it with your foot, but it hit your foot. So guess what? It's a penalty. Or it's the other team's ball. I'm not saying, football should be so simple like that, but it's those kind of things that are going to create problems. Did he mean to put his hand out? Well, who means to put their hand out and stop the ball with their hand when they can't play with their hand? So you're trying to guess what I was trying to do. You can't read my mind. You don't know what I was thinking. So where does it end? It's a bit like being with a woman. You don't know what they're thinking, and you don't know really half the time how things are going to pan out. So
wondered where you're going. I wondered where you're going.
Hey, these are the opinions of G and no one else.
I love women.
I
I love women out there. But they know what I mean. They know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you, man. I get you. Ben, yeah. What's got worse, the handball rule or the offside rule?
Definitely handball. I think offside's pretty straightforward, which makes it more confusing as to why they can't ever get it right. Half the times with offsides now, they don't even draw the lines. They just tell us it's offside. The whole Louis Diaz thing that Calv alluded to, they didn't show any replays because they knew they made a mistake. We only found out at half time that they'd absolutely messed it up. But offside should be very simple. You draw the lines. Is his foot beyond the defender? Yes. Is it not? No. Is his shoulder? Whatever the furthest point of contact is, it's offside or onside.
Who's the one when they drew over his foot? That was the other week, weren't it? When they drew the line and it went over the player's
yeah, I
foot.
remember it, but I can't. Yeah, I
Like,
can't
what's
remember who it
that?
was. But the handball one for me is just. I mean, I was at the Arsenal game when the whole handball thing there, and it was every single fan in the ground. We were so happy because we thought there was absolutely no way
Blatant,
that this doesn't get overturned. It's literally basketball. Like he's bounced the ball with his hand, and remember almost. I know my dad always told me you never celebrate a penalty, but when you're there in the moment, and at that time we thought was obviously gonna be on for something special. You kind of let it get the better of you, and there was absolutely no chance in hell that wasn't going to be a penalty. And when we found out it wasn't a penalty, there was rage, there was anger, there was confusion. Like nobody knew what was going on. Like, and it's just that's the only. Obviously, I know everyone will say, "Oh, but every team gets that." Maybe they do. I don't watch every other team as anywhere near as much as I used to be honest. I'll probably watch one of the games tonight. Hopefully, United lose, but I'm sure every team does get it for them or against them at some stage, fine. But for us, from what we've seen, this has happened time and time again. I heard there was a clip, I think it was the Anfield Wrap, they did an interview with Klopp. He was talking about the Rodri handball a couple of seasons ago. And he was saying that the team were watching it on the bus and they were all celebrating as well because they thought it was a penalty and it wasn't. So I think G's right. I think this whole accidental thing needs to go because first of all, how do they even know if it's accidental? You can act, you can play act, you can just pull a face, or you can make it look like a way it's not been deliberate. It's fine. Like, no one's gonna do a Luis Suarez in the World Cup and jump backwards and handball it over the bar in 2024. Like, no one's gonna do that.
That was an accident. He was trying to
exactly. Yeah, they'll probably get away with it now, saying it was an accident. But I agree with G. I think you just scrap that whole accident rule. If it hits your hand in the box, it's a penalty, and I think that would just solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm interested to see what they do. I am interested to see like what how they go about this personally.
They've got to keep it. All the clubs are invested in it.
Like it'd be interesting to see how the vote comes out. I believe Wolves have started this motion, so it'd be interesting. I think Nottingham Forest are definitely going to be in favour for it. We there's no doubt about that. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see who's in favour of it and who's not at the end of when's the AGM next week or something, ain't it? So yeah, it's going to be interesting how the vote comes out. But look, let's talk about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Luis Diaz. This is an open floor, but I will go to Sadiq first because I know Sadiq's got to pop off soon. So Luis Diaz, a lot of Liverpool fan base, I talk to a lot of Liverpool fans. Some people love this guy, can't get enough of him. Some people like me, pretty much think he's dead food. Sadiq, what's your feelings, Luis Diaz? We know Barcelona apparently really wanted him. Don't know where they're getting the money from. I don't know if they've got a money shop loan or something, but apparently they want to buy him. Liverpool wants around the 70 million mark. What's your opinion on Luis Diaz? In real, like, do you think he's the guy? Do you think no, we can sell him and get better? What's your take, Luis Diaz?
I think for one, Barcelona probably gone to their version of cash converters to get the money. Realistically, it's difficult with Diaz. It's not difficult in how I feel, but it's difficult to sort of negate Luis Diaz in our squad because obviously we had Mane in his position, and obviously he came in near the end of Mane's career. But I do remember that a lot of people want to do this comparison with him, and he's not. No, we know he's not Mane. He's not. There's nowhere close. But he's a flair player. Do you know what I mean? And his normal job is to, as certain people like to use the term, skin up a man on the wing, go past him and create. He's not well known for scoring. Do you know what I mean? Or even though he's done a job for us, and like when he first come on the scene, I was extremely impressed. I was extremely impressed by him. But as it's gone on, he's left a lot to be desired. And I'm not saying I want rid of him, but I'll be interested because I know what Slot does in regards of he likes wingers. Do you know what I mean? He uses a lot of wingers in his game, so he could be in part of a rotation with other players or other people he might bring in. I mean, if he wants to go to Barca, then let him go to Barca. I'm not my favourite players from Liverpool have left, so I don't have any, I'm not going to be sad if Diaz goes. I won't be sad if Salah goes. Do you know what I mean? Or if Trent goes. I've got no emotional attachment. I will say this though. I think the fan base as a whole, or the majority of the fan base, are harsh. We're very harsh people. We're hard to please. Do you know what I mean? And if you're looking at what we want from our team, you know what I mean, and we want from our wingers, we want our wingers to score goals. And if that's the case, Luis Diaz is not cutting it. Do you know what I mean? He's not cutting it. And so in that case, then we need to move him on, because I feel like we're in a place now where we don't know what Slot's going to bring. We don't know what it's going to be like. We've got no idea. I think most fans, they're reactionary because they're fearful of the unknown. Do you know what I mean? And we're fearful of falling behind and becoming United, basically. That's our worst fear. Do you know what I mean? Be United and then be the laughing stock, and we can't hold a torch to anyone anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what Edwards and co do in regards of the transfer and who we get rid of and who we keep. But yeah, I'm not too emotionally attached to Luis Diaz. So if he goes, he goes. If he stays and utilize him. I mean, he's got a good engine on him. You can rely on him to play a full 90 minutes and put his heart into the game. But he's not a Mane. He's not. You can't rely on him to be scoring, and that's unfortunate. So yeah, I've got no qualms of getting rid of him.
I did a space on Twitter with a Colombian journalist called Pipe Sierra, who is pretty much the most reliable Colombian journalist there is. Yeah. And he told me this was in early April. So he said that there's no chance Barcelona can sign him. And he said it's pretty much impossible because of the money it would take to get him out of the club. And then obviously his wage, it's just not possible. But this noise still continues. And I think maybe there's a world where he wants that move, because I've seen his dad has said a lot about him. He dreams of playing for Barcelona, and that is the club that he did. I think he supported growing up. So if he wants to go there, fair enough. But if they can sign him, that's completely different. He also told me, and this is something that I'm not too sure on, if I'm completely honest. But he also told me that Liverpool are gonna potentially offer him a new deal in the summer. So again, I don't know whether to believe that. He's never been wrong with anything he said so far, to be honest. He called the transfer when it actually happened before anybody else. But yeah, that's what he said anyway. But I agree with a lot of what he just said there. I think if he wants to go, well, if any player first of all wants to go. If you don't want to be here for this next chapter, fine. It would hurt. I do disagree in the sense that, you said that you don't have emotional attachment. There is a few players there that I just wouldn't sell for any price. Alisson, Becker, Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Mo Salah, I don't want to sell him, but I'm not stupid. And I know that if a good offer was put on the table, he would probably be gone. But just going back to Diaz, if he wants to go, if he doesn't want to be here anymore, if he does feel like his time is done after 3 years, it is what it is. You can pack your bags and see yourself out, and we move and we'll sign somebody else, I'm pretty sure. But I agree as well and said that fans are are very, very harsh these days. I will never actively just try and run somebody out the club just because I don't necessarily think they're this or that. I don't want to just go and sell all these players, and I don't think we will. I've said for a long time, ever since Klopp first said he was leaving, I don't think this summer's going to be a big overhaul. I think we'll sign 3 or 4 players to positions that we need, and that will be it. I don't think there's a world where we see 3, 4, 5, 6 key players leaving and being replaced. I just don't see it. So FSG are money people, of course, and if there's a deal to be had there, I'm sure they'll look into it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did leave, to be honest.
He's 27. He's at the age where Edwards will cash in on a player if there's value there. Yeah. And if we can get more money than we spent on him, I think he'll be gone.
50 million, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to really look at the numbers as well. Like the numbers aren't good. They're really not. He's probably having his best spell at the club in the last, 10 games. Doesn't score enough goals. Doesn't create enough chances. He creates very rare assists at any club. even international. Like, he's just not a guy that provides assists. Doesn't create chances. Doesn't seem to have a relationship with the left-sided fullback at any stage. Like, he's been in the club 3 years. He's got no relationship with any of the left-sided players. I mean, he runs a lot. He works hard. Like, that's just a prerequisite. Like, you just do that as a player. Like, that's just your job. But for me, you cash in and you get Michael Elise. Like, the guy's ready. Like, he's on the verge of a new big club. Like, he's definitely on the list. Elise, like, he's exactly what we need in the team. He creates brilliant crosses, brilliant assists. And even you talk about wingers, like, maybe Slot will play Cody Gapco where he's supposed to get played on the left side, and he starts performing, because that guy needs to be played in a position that he's good at, and that's where he's good for PSV. That's where he got his goals and assists from. He was pushing out 10 plus assists a season from the left-hand side, and you just look at that cross he did for Mo Salah. Like, he's got that in his bag. Have you ever seen Diaz do that? Ever? Like he's the left-sided player, cross the ball. Like, doesn't do it. It's not going to work in a slot team. That's what I've got to say.
Fair. Cav, what do you recommend?
Well, I think that everybody in the squad gets a fair shot to impress the new manager and show that they fit into his style and his formation and how he wants to play for next season. I think he'll be happy with Luis Diaz, because the bare minimum you get is hard work, a lot of running, good defensively, covers his fullback, tracks back, press is pretty good, even though pressing wise this season haven't been great. I think he's a willing presser, which is something Slot likes to get his teams to do. So I think he'll impress, and I think he'll have a place, and I don't think he'll go. And the reason I don't think he'll go is because I don't think anybody will offer the sort of money that Edwards and co would want for him. But I personally think that he's a great man, fits into the squad well, is by no means a nuisance. Everything that you dislike about the whole sort of Diaz as a player is kind of off the pitch. All of this kind of rumours and stuff is a bit of an annoyance to me. But that doesn't come from him. That comes from his dad and maybe agent and so on. If you play left wing for Liverpool, you have to recognise you are blessed, because you play in our opinion, is the best team in the world, but actually one of the best teams in the world. And you play in that forward line and on the left, where you are going to get so many chances created for you. You are going to get the ball in the final third of the pitch so often, and you're usually going to have runners around you and players with ability around you, that you should really be throwing up some numbers which match those across the league, the best players in the league. In my personal opinion, if you play left wing, striker, or right wing for Liverpool, you really should be throwing up some of the best numbers in the league, because of the team that we've got and because of who we are. So I would say Diaz has been, he's always been a hard worker, and that deserves to be credited, and that will get you so far. But we have got to see improved numbers out of him. We just have to. If we want to win the major honours, it's a key position to have somebody that is devastating offensively, and he's just not quite that. So look, if we get somewhere, I think someone said we signed him for 50 million. If we could get an offer above that for him, they'd take it. I would as well. I think that for 50 million plus, you could go out there and sign a really good player. And I think, am I right in saying Diaz is like 27 now, is he? Something like that?
Yeah.
So if you recoup all of that money into a young 22-year-old, I think you could go out and get somebody that's on the cusp of really becoming a top player, and who probably would throw up better numbers than Diaz. So look, he deserves a shot to stay in the team. I won't be dashing him out, but he has got to improve that output. And just my final thing on it is just to sort of back up the point about hard work being credited. we wouldn't have been in a title race for as long as we were if it wasn't for Luis Diaz, because there was a time before everybody properly down tools where a lot of our players did, and he didn't. He was the player at the hardest part of the season where the legs are tired and the pressure's on. Players are asked to stand up, and he stood up when others didn't in that moment. So unfortunately, the rest of the team dropped off final 5 games, but you know, his hard work and desire counted for a lot in that moment. So there's a place for a player that works that hard for sure.
Fair enough, Matt. G, what's your feelings of Luis Diaz?
I feel like everyone's kind of saying the same thing. We wouldn't be that bothered if he left. To be honest with you, you'd just be like, all right, well, he's. But I would think about keeping him as a. I would rather him as an option on the left wing as a squad option than Gakpo. I feel like with Gakpo, I like Gakpo a lot, man, but I just think you seem very average in any position that we put you in. Left, middle, right, midfield. You seem like an average player. Like, I hear, you know, when he was at PSV and all of that kind of stuff, and when he's with Holland, that all sounds cute when we're talking about it in like his whole career. But when we've seen him at Liverpool, he was decent somewhat when he was you know, playing down that number 9, but he just seems like an average player. Like, you could let go of Gakpo and I guarantee you'd find 50 other Gakpos. Like, I don't think that like he's not a player that is hard to find out.
The thing with Gakpo, though, G, would you say, because Gakpo's only played 12 games this season as a left winger, right? And that's his natural position. Luis Diaz has played 32 games as a left winger this season, but Gakpo, for games to goal, has got more output.
I think when I'm looking at someone like, yeah, I mean, that's in like the Mickey Mouse Cups and that, but I think when I'm looking at like a Diaz, what Diaz offers
Same in the Premier League. Same in the Premier League.
I think what Diaz offers you, I'd much prefer it than really what Gakpo isn't good enough to start. That's the problem. So if he's only going to be like a bench player, and when I say good enough to start, I mean, depending on what your own ambitions are, if we're just, yeah, let's just try and get this, you know, top 4 or something, yeah, then fair enough. Gakpo is probably fine. You know, clearly he was, because we finished 3rd this season. So clearly he's fine for those kind of things. But when I look at him, maybe he might improve. I mean, I don't know who's going to be great in the future. It's just hindsight, right? But when I look at Gakpo, what does he offer me that I'm like, he has to start? Next season, if we go into the season and we're trying to do big things or whatever, you know, with the new manager, Gakpo is the one kind of thing. I don't think Diaz is, but what Diaz offers you, Gakpo could never. He's not a great dribbler in that kind of sense. So I'd rather have someone who get a left winger. If you want to get a left winger, that's absolutely fine. Go and get whoever it is you guys want to sign on the left-hand side, but have Diaz as your second option. Having Gakpo as your second option, I'm kind of like, I mean, you don't offer me anything enough for me to say you're the second option. So if I had to pick between the two, I would probably go Luis Diaz over Cody Gakpo, to be honest. I think even the output kind of conversation, again, I always find that like a weak argument, because if we go down that route, we then have to go down the Núñez route. And technically, Núñez is literally one of the best attackers in the world based off of output. So if we start going down these routes, I feel like people go down the rabbit hole and you can't get out of it, because then you got to apply the same kind of rule for everybody. So I never really look too much at the output thing. I'm more concerned with what do you bring to the team? Like, I don't look at Grealish and think, oh my goodness, he hasn't scored 15 goals. Grealish is fantastic at everything else that he does. It doesn't get you the goals, but everything else he does, that's great.
But he creates goal scoring opportunities. See, if you like, with Diaz don't create goal scoring opportunities. Gakpo in the last 4 games has created more opportunities for goals in them 4 games than Diaz has done this whole season. So
the last 4 games, I'll be so real, Jamie.
No. Gakpo creates far more than Diaz. Diaz creates nothing. That's why he's only got 11 assists in his whole Liverpool career.
Again,
he's a winger, G. But G, he's a winger. He's a winger.
No. By the way, I'm not. I'm like, I hope.
Shit.
Can I just say something on Gakpo?
Just so that everyone, before you go,
I find it
mad. Everyone understands.
Like, we need,
what I'm saying.
Like,
I'm not. I don't care about
size.
No.
We need to play the player to then judge him. He's not actually being played.
No,
Like, you're
just
judging him on like midfield and up front and right wing and all over the place. Where Klopp has even said, "Oh,
no.
I've really
I
messed him
think
around."
you're misconstruing what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
don't care about either player. You could sell either.
Give
Like
him
they're
a season,
both not
give him a
good
season
enough.
as left wing, and if he's shit, he's shit. Then you can go,
So
okay, yeah, Diaz is better.
This is why I say to people,
Mm.
remember what you say, because again, if we keep going down this route, Liverpool fans, we do it quite a lot. You keep going down this route. Let's give him another season. Okay. And again, I've got no problems with that. We're going to have to give Nunes a season. That means none of us here can talk about
He's
Nunes.
played up front.
Let's give him, but he's played on the left wing too. He's played different positions. He hasn't
He's
always
actually
played up
good on
front.
the left wing.
He's not always played in one position. That's the point. This is literally the point. This is why I'm saying we can't keep going down the flip-flop route of, oh, but he's played this position, he's played that position, he's played this position, he's played that position. Do you know why he's played these positions? Because he's not good enough at one position. So obviously he can't really get himself in, but he's not good enough in that
he's not
one
a centre
position.
forward. He's never played centre forward in any of his career. Like he doesn't play for Holland.
And why does he keep
Big up,
PSV? Big up, Sadiq.
Big up, man. Big up.
I'm sure he does play as a centre forward for Holland.
I guess we always forget that, Ben. But why does he play in that position? Because they doesn't want him to play. Obviously, this is under Jurgen Klopp, because he didn't think he was good enough to play. Like, I'm not the one picking the team. Like I said, you could sell either one. I'm so good with you selling either Gakpo or Luis Diaz. I don't care which one that you want to sell. But then you're gonna need. You got to remember, selling one. You guys are now saying that other one that you sell or that you don't sell is good enough to start. We've just spent a season, guys. I've heard every single Liverpool fan, barring maybe like a 1% of fans, who have spent the season cussing the entire attack. So I don't even want to hear about, yeah, but he hasn't done this or he hasn't done that. But we've just spent the whole season cussing him out because he's been a ghost. He doesn't really do anything in games. But because of, and not to your point, Jamie, but you kind of emphasize it there, based off of the 4 games that he's had, all of a sudden, everyone's kind of just flip-flopped straight back into, you know what, Gakpo's the guy. I'm like, where was this energy when?
What I mean by that, sorry, G, what I mean by that, them 4 games that he played were the only times that he's played in his natural position in a row. That's what I'm going with, because it's hard to judge Gakpo because Gakpo plays left wing, right wing, number 9, and he's played 8 games. He played
number 9 last season.
Like, yeah, he was good last season, and he's good. And he's good last season. The reason
what happened at the beginning of this, like Klopp didn't think. Obviously, this is
but the reason he's good, the reason he does this
is
because he's technically better than Diaz. That's why he can do it. You know, he holds the ball up better than Diaz. He keeps possession better than Luis Diaz. His end product is better than Luis Diaz's.
No, but you're literally emphasizing the point I'm making. That you're everything you're saying is literally okay. You know what? We'll use another example to make it more simple. Endo and McAllister. McAllister played in number 6 position because Endo wasn't really up to scratch, wasn't really with it. McAllister obviously played in this league, etc., etc. When Klopp felt it was such time that Endo was obviously good enough to play in the 6th position, what did he do? He moved McAllister to his, what we would say, quote unquote, his natural position, right? Because he felt that Endo was good enough to play in that position now, so he plays there. McAllister plays in the 8. At no point, other than these last like 4 games, and really that's probably because Diogo Jota has been injured, we have not seen Gakpo in this position. Why? Because the whole season has gone by and Klopp never thought once, let me play this guy here. And there's a reason for that, because he doesn't believe he was good enough to do that role. Even when Diaz was stinking it up on the left wing, he continued playing Diaz in that position. For what reason?
Is that Gakpo's fault or is that the manager's fault? Because I know whose fault that is, mate.
You're emphasizing the point, K-Mac.
That's the guy who's leaving the club.
This is. I'm not going to get into why he's leaving the club because it's got nothing to do with that.
He even said it himself. He even said it. He ruined Gakpo this year. He said it himself in a press conference.
Again, we can only go based off what the manager does.
Gakpo didn't ruin himself.
We can only go off what the manager does. I can't go off of
I just need to look at numbers. Like, and Gakpo's numbers tally up with Jota's. He's a bagsman.
So Nunes is one of the best strikers in the world by that logic. That's what you're saying.
50-50.
No, but you're saying to me that Nunes is one of the best strikers in the world.
You're saying to me that Nunes is one of the best strikers in the world.
No. I'm not saying that. You're not saying that. What I'm saying is that I've heard people here say he's rubbish. He can't hit a barn door. But now we're using output to judge a player. I'm like, you need to pick a side. Like, it can't be one week output, but next week it's not output.
I've always been on the Gakpo train. I think Gakpo has been very good since he's joined Liverpool. He's just not been given the opportunity enough. I always look at output for forwards, because you have to look at output for forwards. Because if my forward's not giving me output, then he's not a forward. I don't know what he's doing. He's not doing his job. Simple as that. Cody Gakpo in the Premier League this season, output wise, if we just go by that for 1 second, where's he gone? He's got 8 goals and 5 assists. Yeah, he's got 100 minutes per goal is 196, and he's played 1,565 minutes. 8 goals, 5 assists. Luis Diaz, who plays left wing every single week, has got 8 goals and 5 assists in minutes per goal, 322, and he's played 2,575 minutes. So, goals to game and goals to minute ratio, Cody Gakpo is better than Luis Diaz. So I just
you just read out like the same stats.
No, goals to game. No, goals to game, goals to minutes.
Jamie, this is what I want to do. So Jamie,
Diaz
this is what I want to
twice
change.
as much. G.
This is what I want to
twice as much.
We need to change this mentality of, if you're gonna base it, which is fine by the way, if you're gonna base someone's game on the GA, then you're going to have to stick with that for every of the forwards. So when we do then talk about other forwards, we're going to have to keep... I don't mind, by the way, Jamie, like, as in what you're saying is correct. He has got a better goal to game ratio. That's fantastic. But when we then start moving on to each and every single forward as an example, we then change and we move the goalposts. So I'm like, well, how does the conversation then move forward when we're then talking about other people, when we've just used one example and one metric for one person, but for someone else, we don't want to do that. By the way, you know, I don't like Nunes and I'd love him to go, but I just used him as an example because he's the one that everyone talks about. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
I agree with what you're saying about that, but the thing with Gakpo, right? The thing I'll go with Gakpo, he's played literally 1,000 less minutes than Diaz this season. So that tells me, if you look at his ratio, Gakpo probably, if he played more, would score more goals given the opportunity.
Maybe
Darwin's conversion rate is terrible. It's absolutely awful. You know, so that's but when I look at Cody, if you go by, you know, the amount of time he's actually played with the goals he scored, what them stats tell you, if Cody literally played more games, he'd probably get more goals. I don't know how you feel about this, Ben.
But
have you got shots as well, Jamie? Have you got shots? Because he doesn't have many shots either, by the way. Doesn't take many shots.
First for me,
Diaz's amount of games he's played is a credit to him. He's kept himself fit, he's kept himself sharp, and he's clearly been training well enough to be able to be in them games. So we were all here, you know, praising Salah and Mane and Firmino's availability for so many years, and now suddenly we've got a guy that can get into the team. And let's not joke, you know, our coaches aren't fools. They're not just going to put a guy in, you know, if they don't think he's good enough. So fair play to him for being available, first of all. I don't think that he should be discredited for that. And also, in the same breath, Cody Gakpo has had chances, but not as much. And that's partly down to him not being good enough in a set position, which I think was said earlier. But also, when he's performed, he's not performed well enough. And I don't care what you say, he's a forward, whether he plays left wing, right wing, you know, as an 8 and he's allowed to maraud forward and stuff. He's given an opportunity to go showcase what he's about. And that's all you can ask for. That's all, is to give these players opportunities on the pitch to go and showcase what they're about. And he's clearly not done enough to warrant starts ahead of Diaz. Now, I understand the goals and assists to minutes ratio, right? But what you've got to also consider is next season, we're going to have a completely different style, right? And a completely different way of building up our offensive play. And one way or another, it's going to suit Cody Gakpo or Diaz if they're the two left-wing options. One of them's going to benefit from them more. I remember at the back end of last season when we went to like a box forward line, we always managed, Diaz, Gakpo flourished. because there was always a free man, and he's the best at linking up. You know, look at the amount of times that a midfielder got in with the goals. You know, Curtis Jones had a flourish at the end of last season because we created a system whereby we outnumbered people further up the pitch by playing that box system, and Gakpo flourished with it because the play was more intricate. It was more about making selfless runs and so on and so on. Diaz is better in environments where you're just playing high intensity and it's all about battling, you know, and it depends which way this all goes with the new coach. One of them will benefit. Just as a final thing as well, flexibility is also key, because one thing I would quite like to see more of next season, especially if this guy continues to put in the performances that he has, and everyone shoot me down, feel free, is I want to see Diaz on the right a bit more. Like, I feel like when you've got a player that works incredibly hard, doesn't it make sense for him to be on the side of the fullback that has the license to roam wherever he wants? Like, for years, our system has somewhat been around Trent being able to, you know, be inverted, if not roam, and Henderson's done a lot of that legwork. Would it not make sense to have a guy out on the right wing that works hard and covers that position as well? The most hardworking forward we've got is Luis Diaz. So I think that's been a major issue as well, is that we're constantly out of sorts because you have a right back that's doing his own thing. You have a right winger that's not interested in battling or running back or working hard, and at times has been absent for large portions of the game. I personally think that we always have to bring it back to what would aid the team overall. And for me personally, I would just like to see next season Luis Diaz tried out on the right, you know, and you might see him just hit the byline a bit more and put crosses into the box. You know, you might see more variety in his play. If someone said earlier he doesn't link up that well with other players, put him on a side where he doesn't need to then. You know, put him on a side where Trent's off doing his own thing, and that right wing position is a case of just get the ball and go and make something happen on your own. Don't worry about linking up so much. You know, without being so extreme. I'm just trying to case the point. That's all. So,
fair enough.
again,
Fair enough.
Can I just touch on Gakpo before we move on to another subject, Jamie? So the thing about Gakpo, and look, I'll say something about Diaz as well. Diaz asked for a transfer, okay? Diaz asked for a transfer last year, okay? If anyone doesn't know, he did. So Diaz wanted to leave the club last year, but we couldn't get him a transfer. We could only get a loan, and we didn't want to take it. You can Google that yourself, okay? Because that's common knowledge by a lot of people. He wanted to leave the club. He wasn't given a new contract because of that, and that's why he's still on the old contract, and he's not been offered a new one. So Diaz will probably go. Think about Gakpo, and this is what makes me laugh, because we've had this conversation about the eye test, and because you see a guy working his ass off and running up and down the pitch 24/7, makes you think that he's doing more than the other guy. If you put Gakpo and Diaz stats up on recoveries, tackles, tracking back, they're all neck and neck. He does exactly the same job as he does. He wins exactly as many tackles, as many headers. It's pretty much the same, okay? And the difference between Gakpo, and this is what I want to make a real point on, Gakpo isn't the first team choice. Diaz plays every single game with the best 11. Gakpo doesn't. Gakpo played with the kids. Gakpo got these numbers playing with bloody Kostas Tsimikas at the back and Gomez behind him and all these other people in midfield. Like, Diaz plays with the best team constantly, just like Salah plays with the best team constantly. So those numbers are skewed by the fact they have the best 11 on the pitch with them, which means you've got a better chance of winning. You got more.
Then you can see Gakpo's played against weaker opposition.
I was just about to say,
Gakpo plays.
You've got to use the same metric for another player, and he's playing against weaker opposition than Luis Diaz. That's a fact. Europa League, League Cup games. He was our top goal scorer in the League Cup. Like, what are we doing? Like, he's literally playing against.
Just gave you the Prem goals, mate. Just gave you
and
the Prem goals.
And who's he playing against?
All right.
So
well,
if he's playing,
tell me how many goals he scored
League,
against all the top six. Then, if you think he's amazing, Diaz.
If he's playing in the same Premier League, if he's playing in the same Premier League as Luis Diaz, I don't know how many games he's played. If he's scoring in the Premier League, so So is he not playing? Is he not still playing in the same great team that you're saying that Luis Diaz is doing? And they
He's
both got
played
the
a lot of
same amount of
games.
goals.
They both played a lot of games.
This
But
is
Gakpo
the
doesn't
point.
play the whole game. He gets
Look,
put on as a
look,
sub. He gets played
I
on the
don't-
right and midfield up front. Like all I'm saying is Arnie Slot gives him a whole season
Can
on the left side, and then we can all judge him. But you
Can
can't
I
judge
just-
him on being
Yeah, go
played
on, Ben.
everywhere.
let me just wrap this up, yeah, because this is
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Both of these players have been here for 2 years now, yeah. So like this whole babying, like, oh, he's not played this
Gakpo's
much, he's playing
been
with
with
this
us for a year and a half.
Okay,
A year and a
so
half.
all right, fair enough. He's been a year and a half. They've both been here a decent amount of time, and I usually give players 2 seasons anyway. So Gakpo's got another 6 months before you can really judge him. But I just think if like I don't really have an issue with anyone if they wanted to move one of them on. If the offer came in and we were going to go and get somebody else which would be better suited for what the new manager wants, so be it. I don't really care. But I'm not saying you guys are doing this, by the way, but on Twitter and all social media platforms, you just see this player FC stuff where like your favorite player or the player you like the most has to be better than the other player in the debate. And I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. I think you've both made good points. I just feel like one's not been superior and the other one's not been like completely inferior, if you know what I mean. I just feel both of them are good players. Both of them are very good squad options if we were to go and sign another forward. I don't know who that would be, but not world class, and they won't be world class. I think Luis Diaz was borderline world class when he first came in. That 6-month spell that he had was just ridiculous, and I don't know what happened to him since then. I know he had a big injury and stuff like that. Gakpo, same thing. He came in and he was really, really good when he first came in. He's probably our best attacker for a while as well, to be fair. This season, it's gone wrong, and I don't know where it's gone wrong, but it's not just them two. It's Nunes, it's Salah at times, it's all of them. And I don't necessarily have a problem with one of the forwards not scoring enough goals or not scoring like 15, 20 goals as long as they're doing the other things, as long as the other two forwards are scoring all the goals. Salah has done, Nunes hasn't. So I think that's where the problem rises even more. You've got two of the front three not really scoring goals in big games, not just one of them. So none of them have really helped each other out this season. I feel like there's been times where you sort of need two of them to just think, okay, we've got to carry us, and it's only really ever been Salah. I know Nunes has scored quite a few winning goals, more so in the first half of the season. But yeah, I've just been underwhelmed with all of them, apart from Salah. But even Salah at times hasn't been good enough. But it's been as a collective. I don't really want to single anyone out. I don't really. This is why I don't have that energy where everyone's like, oh, I'm selling this guy. I don't really have that in me right now to say this is the player I want to sell and this is why. If any of them go this summer, they'll want to go. And like you said, if Diaz wants to leave, like I said before, pack your bags and see yourself out, and we'll get a nice chunk of money to reinvest. That's how I feel right now. There's only 3 players, like I said, that's untouchable for me, and the rest can. I don't know. Don't really care, but yeah,
That's fair, man.
I don't feel there's a right or wrong answer. That's all I want to say.
I think that's fair. Look, it's a fair argument. Look, the Gakpo Diaz stuff. It's one. Look, I don't particularly think Diaz does enough for the quality he has. That's me actually praising him because I think he's a very talented footballer. I just don't think he does enough for the talent that is exposure. And I think Gakpo hasn't been given enough opportunity. Even Jurgen Klopp admitted that himself. So I just want to see a bit more from both of them. To be absolutely fair, but. Yeah, Gakpo playing everywhere, and for me tells
so is
me.
McAllister, so is Joe Gomez, and they get criticised for it. Like people don't really hold back on those players. They've all, if you play for this team, I'm sorry, but you've got to be prepared to play where the manager plays you. And the fact that he obviously dropped him a bit deeper, it shows that he can do that because he wouldn't just do it if he couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
McAllister was playing DM on his own for ages, and he was getting criticised for it. So,
and that's why I praise them players. Gakpo's and players like that, and the McAllisters, because they can fit into a system, and they don't moan about it, and they play and they try and perform to the best of their capabilities. Right, next subject. This is going to be one. What do we do with Darwin Núñez? Now, this is going to cause so many issues. I just want to show this picture. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So, this is the top underperforming XG forwards in Europe. Darwin is top of that with -6.9.
Who created this?
It's Trullo.
Who created it? Well, this is the most makey up stat I've ever seen.
No, it's not made up. I mean, with our eyes, we can blatantly see that he's useless.
G got a job for who scored when he made it.
Who the hell is Kyle Larin?
Yeah, there you go. It tells you everything, don't
Who's
it?
Luca I don't even know what that says.
I mean,
looks like the COVID jab. Pfizer or whatever
Pfizer. It does.
Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Yeah, Luca Pfizer, you know. I don't know what we do with Darwin. He's the most confusing footballer I've ever seen in my life. I'll put it like that. I'll get confused by this guy. He's got 11 Premier League goals this season. With the amount of chances he has, is nowhere near good enough. I can't see how anyone can disagree with that. He creates a lot of opportunities for himself as well, which I always give him credit for, but then he doesn't put them chances away. He has the backing of the manager. Klopp has completely backed this player from day one. He has more opportunity than even Salah in his team at times. His goal return is not good enough. Ben, I'll go with you first. His goal return's not good enough. What do we do with him? Because he's 25 years old now. We can't talk about Darwin like he's a kid. We have to give him the respect that he's a grown man. He's a professional footballer. What do we do with him? Because he is a lot of money. We have invested a lot of money and time into Darwin Núñez, you know. So we have got to put that into perspective. We're not a team that can afford to let go of a player that we put so much money into to replace. We ain't that kind of team. So what do we do with Darwin? Do you trust him? Do you trust Darwin, Ben, to score 20 Premier League goals next season?
No, not at all. And I said, look, I'll just go back to the start, right? The reason why I love Darwin and I really wanted it to work for Darwin, and I still think it can go on to work for Darwin, is because of the immediate reaction he got when he was signed. And there was a lot of people, a lot of big platforms, just as soon as he signed, just, you know, all the Andy Carroll shouts and that before he'd even kicked the ball for us. And I really didn't like that. And that just made me really like him and sort of wanting to explode, really. And the first season, it wasn't great, let's be honest. It wasn't coming in and sort of going from what we had before to this more like physical striker. It was quite a big change. And I just thought, you know what, you give him the benefit of the doubt. You always give new signings time. But I remember saying next season he's got to get that 20 Premier League goal number for the price he cost. And, you know, we gave him the number 9. So we clearly had faith in him that he would deliver. And in the Premier League, it's not gone to plan. So I have to be honest. I said to him, if he doesn't get 20 in the league, we're gonna, or thereabouts. So say like 17 to 20, I think would have been acceptable. He hasn't. He has scored in big moments. I was at St. James's Park. That cameo was one of the best days of my life, and that away day will be hard to top. But you know, when you look at the whole context of the season, when we've needed him to step up, when we've needed him to go on a run of form, he's not really kicked on from those first few months of the season. And that is disappointing. And I feel like we keep him. And the reason why I feel like we keep him is because there's a lot of games next season. Obviously, there's more in the Champions League. I feel like Darwin Núñez has a role to play in this squad. I just don't think he should be a guaranteed starter. And to be fair, Klopp's not been starting him recently. He has been pulling him out and he's been going without him. I feel like Darwin, and this isn't an excuse to him because he's not been good enough, I feel like he's not benefited off other players just being injured for such a long time because we've not really had another option. I know you could say Gakpo up front, fair enough, but you know, Jota would have came in for Darwin months ago had he been fit, and I'm pretty sure it would have been Diaz, Jota, Salah as the front three. Obviously, we've not had that luxury, so Núñez sort of had to play through poor form, and that's not an excuse. Like I said, I don't want to baby him. I don't want to be one of these people that just try and find every excuse under the book for him. I was one of those people last season, but it sort of just dawned on me at some stage this season, like, yeah, we're going for a title, and he's just continuously missing these chances. And I don't know if he'll teach him to score those chances, to be honest, Jamie, because like you said, he is 25 now. And if you're an £80 million striker, however much you paid for him, and you're not putting those chances away at 25, there's only a certain level you can get to beyond that, I think. He'd be a very expensive squad player, but I think for this season, you just sort of keep him around, see what we want to do with him, see what he wants to do. it's a new start for everyone, isn't it? On his slot, so who knows? A new manager change could do him good. It could go the complete opposite way, but
Well,
he's still got a length
yeah,
of time contract, so we're not going to lose value on him. Give him
no, you
one
still
more.
make money on him. I think you
Yeah,
make
and then
money on
that's
him if
3
you sell him.
seasons, and then if he's not cut it, then yeah, you have to just get rid.
It's just an awkward one, because what if I told you guys right now that Ramis Højlund at Man United has only got 2 Premier League goals less than him, and he's played 8 less games?
Yeah, but I think
And
he's absolutely terrible as well.
and this is what I'm saying. But he barely has many shots a game compared to Darwin. We know Darwin's had more shots than any player.
Højlund works off scraps. Like,
Yeah,
if
so
you put Højlund in the position Darwin's in, Jesus, like,
this is the thing. I don't know. This is what I keep saying. I'll go to Cav, because I think he's got something good to say on this. I just don't. I don't know how to. He confuses me, Cav. He's the most confusing footballer I've ever seen, because surely he knows when you're 5 yards out in front of goal, you don't smash it as hard as you can continuously. Surely he knows these things. I get confused by him, Cav. I really do. Like, talk to me about it.
Yeah, okay. You're gonna try and get some reason out of me on a player that just defies logic. I don't quite know. What I would say is, when he first joined Liverpool, we weren't in a good way. So I give him a little bit of leeway for that. And he created a lot of chances, and he created a lot of those himself. He was shooting from every angle, and he was running into areas and getting shots away. And a lot of that was off his own, work rate, and is off his own back. But this season he has had chances. He's had a good team around him. He's had players create chances for him, and he's missed a lot. And you can't do that as a striker, especially for a top club like Liverpool. But I also think that we have so much variance in how we play and how we build up, that it's actually quite difficult for any forward to try and figure out what it is we're trying to do. All of our build-up play is a little bit off the cuff. It's not really systemic and particular, quite like Man City's is or an Arsenal's is. Ours is just win the ball high up the pitch and go and create, and depending on what players you've got on the pitch, offer you different things, just as an example, if you've got McAllister in the 6 as opposed to Endo, you probably get him line breaking passes from deeper. If you've got Trent instead of Bradley, you've got an inverted fullback as opposed to marauding one. So the passes are coming more infield as opposed from whipped out wide from Bradley, and so on and so on. So it's difficult because different players offer different things. And I think Núñez just hasn't particularly clicked with anybody. Now, I do think there's a player there. I think he's got some incredible raw attributes. His pace being for one. He is a bit of a chance magnet. His movement in the box is really good. And I think that he would benefit being at a team where they just recognize him as the striker. They recognize his ability and they just tailor the team towards it. Like, remember, when Leicester won the league, Jamie Vardy was on fire, but Jamie Vardy was on fire because he was asked to do nothing other than stand on the opposition's final line. And every time that ball was played forward, it went into Okazaki or it went into Mahrez, and it was Vardy will be on the shoulder. He will be on the shoulder, and it will never change. So find him. And he just perfected the art of that, and then what to do once you got in the box, buy a foul, a penalty, or get a shot away, and his finishing was good. And I just think that's what, if I was a coach, I would like to do with Núñez, where I'd just say, look, you're super quick. Don't get involved in the build-up. Stand on the last line of defense and just look to just get in on the goal, be on the penalty spot, and just tap all of these in. You're not particularly good at linking up. Your passing is not particularly great. Just stay away from all of that. The trouble is going to be is whether Liverpool are willing to do that. Now, Slot may, he might play with a number 10 and allow the 10 to do a lot of that link up with the midfield and the wide men, and just allow his forward to be that number 9, his traditional number 9, if you like. And in which case, I think Núñez probably would really flourish. And I do actually see him in a system like that, getting 20 goals in the league. But I think if you play 4-3-3 and you ask him to cover loads of ground and interchange positions with the other forwards, ask him to drop in and link up, spray the ball out wide and then get into the box and stuff, I just don't think he's you're gonna ask too much of him, and he's quite I imagine his mind should be kept quite simple. Give him simple instructions. Don't ask him to do too much, and you'll get a good return out of him. So I hope we stick with him, and I hope that we not change to tailor towards him entirely, but I do hope that we sort of recognize what his abilities are and just try and harness them a little bit better. And like I say, maybe there is a striker there, but then there will come a point, and I think the point for me will be next summer, where if he has the same kind of performances and returns, it moves away from being this project now. The project's dead and done for me. It's where are Liverpool and what do Liverpool need, and if that is a forward that is able to link up, then I'd look to move him on and just see where that is in the market, because there's so many good players in this squad, but so many of them are still work in progress and projects, and there needs to come a point, as Ben said earlier, where you move away from this individualism and you just focus on the team again. And I think everybody warrants it. I think Núñez warrants another season, but beyond that, yeah, I'm looking to move on and get a different profile of player as for my striker.
That's make fair points there, Kev. Jay, what how do you look at it? Because I think Kev makes some fair points there, and is Darwin like Liverpool's Diogo Forlan, where he looked a bit of a joke at Man United, but then he went off, got his career going, and was actually a pretty good striker. Is that, because I've always said when we bought Darwin, and I will say it, there is a player there with Darwin. He has got raw potential to put it all together and be something. But this is why I say it's confusing to me, because, he must know not to smash the ball as hard as you can when you're 5 yards out continuously. The way he finishes, you see him some games and he finishes beautifully. Like them goals against Newcastle and that, putting the ball in the corner like he did, because he knows it's the only place he can put it to score that goal where he was in that position. So there is a player there that can think like that. But then, we see games, that's not what he did last week. It's confusing, G. I just don't know, man.
I'm looking forward to this.
I think G's just as confused to me.
Yeah. G, let me ask you this: do you think he improved his link up during the season?
No.
And his overall game?
I think his game was worse.
I think he's got
this
worse.
Season. I think
I think he improved before he went backwards again.
Okay, you see.
I would care there. He's gone up and down this season, definitely.
Yeah, you know what?
Offside now. He wasn't offside before.
Yeah, and there's that that's true as well. I think you see with him, when you say about improvement, where I think he's improved his game, it's not even that. It's like you were constantly failing. You as a kid, you were constantly failing your tests. You were always getting Fs. Now you've improved, but you're still failing, but you're just getting Ds. But you're still failing. It's just you've just moved up to a D. It's like, but you're still failing. So yes, there's an improvement, but you're still failing at what we all want to see from him. So I'll be honest, man. I honestly, I would just sell, and I don't want to crash it on him too much, because I know, we could sit here for like 3 hours and speak about Núñez, and I could easily go in on him. But I just think that where he's had the 2 seasons, I don't feel like what he brings for the team, and it goes back to like the conversation we had about Gakpo and Diaz. I don't feel like what he's bringing to the team, I can't just find that somewhere else. Like it's not like you're bringing me all these goals like a Mo Salah, but you're not offering me anything defensively. So now you're caught between a rock and a hard place, because you're like, where can I find that? He's not offering me the goals. So I'm now like, but you're not even offering me goals. You're just offering me nuisance. And now the nuisance is getting even worse now, where you're actually almost hindering what's kind of going on, as well as the others, by the way. I don't want people to think I'm just crashing it on him. The others are also playing bad. You're not offering enough. I can find another guy to cause nuisance and probably get me more goals. So just go out and find that person. I think there's plenty of strikers out there. Just depends on what level that you kind of want to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a mad one, Darwin, because as Cav said, I did think at the beginning of the season his link-up play improved a little bit, and he got better. And then all of a sudden, he just got worse again. And it's like, I don't know what it is. It just confuses me as a footballer. Because as I said, there is, like Cav was saying as well, there is things that are very likable about him. Like, there's not many of our forwards that can create their own chances. Like, he literally can do that, but then he doesn't put the chance away all the time. So he has got that part of his game. He obviously his pace is an asset to our team. There's no doubt about that. So he has got things that if you're a coach, I think Darwin Núñez is one of them players. If you're a top draw coach, you would look at him and go, I can get something out of him, because he has got these attributes to his game where if I got him, I could fix him. And if I can fix him, I've got a blinding player there. I've got a player that hardly anyone else in Europe's got. If I can just tweak these things about his game, but it's also a gamble at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that
you can just see a coach. Maybe it will be Slot just working with him in the summer, and he comes back and he just starts the season on fire. And you probably won't be surprised because of that raw ability that he has. But it's crazy to me that he spent as long as he has now at Liverpool, and he still seems to make the same mistakes. Sometimes I'm watching him and I'm just like, surely someone in the week has got hold of him and just said, look, you need to work on this. You need to work on this because it's the same thing every week. And it's like, how? Because surely someone's picking up on it. And do you know what? We were joking around the other day because I think he got pictured at Disneyland with his family, which is nice for him, right? But I personally think with his raw ability, right, and obviously I'm not privy to see how much training and stuff he does, but I would like to see a mentality from him where he's the last person on the training field doing shooting drills, because that's what it's going to take for him to improve in the areas he needs to improve. I think if he's rocking up and doing the standard 9 to 1 training session, and going to the team meetings and learning the analytics and all of that will get him so far, yes. But I personally think he needs to do that extra work, and we see it all the time with these top players where they've put the extra yards in, the extra bit of training in, and that's what I thought he would be doing, to be honest with you, because I thought he would be, you know what, I'm rapid, I've scored goals in the past at Benfica. I'm getting chances. I'm not taking them, but I'm at the best club in the world. I'm back in the Champions League. I'm going to be put on the top stage to go and showcase who I am. Let's make sure that this summer and this period of my career and where I'm at, I'm training the hardest to improve. And I'm not too sure he is, to be honest with you, because I feel like we'd have seen it. I feel like there have been more made of it, and that's a bit baffling to me. And that's where I don't question the mentality. I just would have preferred a more of an elite level mentality from him, because I don't want to look back with Darwin Núñez, whether he moves on from Liverpool and is successful elsewhere, or whatever. Him look back at his career and just think, I could have done more, because I think that's incredibly sad, because not a lot of people are born with high pace, knacked for getting chances in the box, and there's something there, but he also has got to work hard to release that potential.
I agree, man.
So the thing about Núñez is there's raw ability there, but it's still there. Like it should have been harnessed now.
A little bit more polished. Yeah.
It should have been put into some kind of structure, and we all love chaos, but chaos is the reason why we've been a poor team for the last 2 years.
Is it even chaos anymore?
It's just
not at the moment.
It's just too chaotic. It's our team's just so chaotic. Like the problem with Núñez now is, I think he's making Salah doubt what he needs to do in attack, because Salah's given him 17 big chances. He's not been able to score any of them. Like, the numbers are insane. For me, I think Núñez needed one more season before we signed him, because we took Diaz and we took Núñez off one good season at their clubs. And I think they needed one more to give us the real deal. Like, as in, we know you can do that now on a regular basis. Like, Mane had that, Jota had that, Salah had that, like Virgil van Dijk had that. They had 2 seasons of great, performing at a high ability consistently. I felt they were a flash in the pan, and when they came to us, they took a bit of it with them, but then it's just, You know, the Premier League's the hardest league in the world. Like the best goalkeepers in the world, the best defenders in the world. Like you have to keep on changing the way you do things to get the better of them. Like now they just hold the line and Nunes is offside all the time now. Like the goalie stands up and he knows he's going to hit him. I just feel that like we spent 64 million on him. Like a lot of people are saying 84 million, but it's not going to hit those numbers because the add-ons aren't going to kick in until he's done a certain amount. I just feel like if Osimhen goes to PSG, we could sell him to Napoli. Like he's suited to Italian football. You know, it's slower. You know, the defenders aren't as great. Like you know, as in pace-wise. So I just think he'd do well in France. He'd do well in, you know, maybe
but even on that though, K-Mac, he's gonna have to improve sides to his game because as he gets older, his pace will slow, and then what will he be then? Do you know what I mean?
He's
gonna. Well, but here's the thing: for his own benefit and his own career, regardless of whether it works out at Liverpool or not, the areas of his game that he's not good at, he has to improve to have a successful career.
I agree, mate. You've got
Mo Salah, like
Mo Salah being photographed, like a video, like doing extra training to get himself fit again. Like Nunes laughs when he misses a chance. Like it absolutely infuriates me. Like the thing about it as well is, isn't he mates with Luis Suarez? Like, can't Luis Suarez like literally say to him, dude, like you realise where you're playing here? Like, you know, you don't get this chance like often to play for this club. Like, it's for me. I just don't want to keep on making excuses for someone up front, and we seem to keep on making excuses for him, and it gets to a stage where you just have to open your eyes and go, you know what, he's just not good enough. Like, you know, it was, oh, well, he doesn't understand the language. Oh, he hasn't integrated with the team well enough. You know, making excuses. Yeah, he works hard. Oh, he's trying. You know, it's getting to the stage where it's like, you're just not good enough, mate. Like,
do you know what? One of the biggest excuses I will give him, and I've said this a couple of times already, is that, and you kind of touched on it, K-Mac, is Trent said it best when he met with Gary Neville on the overlap, and he said, you know, our build-up play is basically going. Our first tactic is to press high up the pitch, press as a team. If they beat the first man, gem press, all of this kind of thing. Win the ball high up the pitch, and then when you win the ball high up the pitch, the opposition are out of position, and you go make things happen, right? And if you're on the ball, you're encouraged to try things and take risky passes, and then if it doesn't work out and give the ball away, press again and go back to tactic A. And that's the whole philosophy under Jurgen Klopp, right? Is that panic and that chaos based on that pressing. And so, like, I think when they brought Nunes in, they thought work rate, energy, good at pressing, all of these kind of things, he's going to flourish in it. But actually, it's gone the other way in the sense that he needed just instruction. You know, yes, he can do the pressing, but once he's on the ball, what does he do then? And there's too much variety in them situations. There's too much panic and too much emphasis on doing things quick. And he isn't somebody that's particularly quick-minded, so it don't benefit him. And that's why I go back to it. We'd probably be better to just have a different style. I'm not talking in terms of benefiting Liverpool, but in terms of benefiting Nunes, whereby we are a little bit more methodical in how we build up. So Nunes knows, okay, well, when the midfielder gets it, he's going to look to try and get it out wide, and you'll see Trent, and Trent naturally likes to cross from deep. I might make sure I'm running across my centre back, or I'm running across the fullback, depending on where I am. I might just want to stand still, because often standing still in the box is the best thing to do in terms of creating space. Give him a better idea as to what's going to happen around him, and I think and give him them simple instructions, and he'll be able to flourish more. But I think this whole style of just press, once you get the ball, see who's around you. It could be anybody, and just go try and link up with them, and that's way too much variety for a player like that, I think. So I think I would give him that excuse, but at the same time, the very, very best players in the world, as we've seen, because Sadio Mane, Firmino and Salah are able to do it so well. The best players in the world love that kind of system, because they love that uncertainty that it puts into the opposition, where you win the ball so high up the pitch that the opposition are out of position, body shape's wrong. You know, 1 or 2 passes, you're in on goal. You know, so it's a two-way thing. But I would give him that excuse that it must be difficult to be a forward in a Liverpool side in that respect, as opposed to an Arsenal or a Man City. Because at Man City, if you're a forward, just stay in the box. You know that it's going to be played around you, hit the byline and pulled back. As long as you're somewhere in the 6-yard box, you'll get a tap in.
That makes perfect sense. But then I'd also say we shouldn't have bought him in if you don't like suit our way of playing.
Well, I think he does in one respect. I think he suits it in terms of the pressing and the running and the energy levels and the availability and so on and so on. But I don't think he does in terms of once we get that ball, what he does then. And
Can I just give you a crazy number? Can I just give you a crazy number before maybe we end the Nunes talk? Nunes, 63 games he's played for Liverpool, 20 goals, 50 big chances missed. Haaland, this is who we compare him to because he gets as many chances. 63 games played, 60 goals, 60 misses.
More misses.
Yeah.
Yes,
that was what
yeah, that right there ends the debate. I want to go to Harvey Elliott now. I want to go to Harvey Elliott. I think he's had a very good season this year. Now, the Young Player of the Year awards was, put nominations up were last week, and what a lot of people notice on the Young Player of the Year award is none of them are young players.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, most of them are 23 and 24, which I think is too
Didn't
old.
like Jordan Henderson win like Young Player of the Year when he was like 27?
I mean, Isaac's 20. Isaac's in the Young Player of the Year and he's 24. It's
stupid.
Young player from young player. I don't know about you guys, but I think Young Player of the Year should be 21 and under. That's what it should be. And if you haven't got a load of under 21-year-old players, fine. If you've only got 3 or 4, that's the nominees, and you just go from there. So this is why I bring up Harvey Elliott, because the Man United players in the Young Player of the Year, right? Who I believe since that game against Man United against Liverpool, I don't think he's been that much. I don't think he's been that great. I think he's extremely overhyped. And I think he's overhyped because of how bad Man United are right now. I think he's a good player, but he's in the Young Player of the Year nomination. Do you think Harvey Elliott got screwed over a little bit? Because for me, Harvey Elliott has been better than him for Liverpool this season. He's also an actual young player as well. I think he's still 20. I don't know if he's 21 just yet.
21 now.
He's 21 now, so he's still a young player. And so he's 20 this season, an actual young player. Jay, do you think Harvey Elliott got a bit, and not just Harvey Elliott, Braithwaite for Everton as well, who I think's a very good player.
He didn't get nominated. Oh,
yeah.
What he did.
Do you think them 2 players got a bit screwed over?
Wow.
Like let's put it to you this way, I get the awards and I don't understand what the criteria is. Like Rodri didn't even get nominated for Player of the Year. I was like, well, he is
Player of the Year. In my opinion, Rodri is Player of the Year.
But I agree with you. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't even understand what's your criteria for this. Mainu, there's no way, because it's the same way as saying you wouldn't give Player of the Year to KDB because he played like half the season. So has Mainu. He's literally played like half of the season. So if we're going to judge it by that, you're telling me in even the amount of games that Harvey Elliott has played, you don't think that Harvey Elliott has been better than Kobe Mainu? Like, even like he's been way better, like literally way better. But you said it there, Man United have been so shit that he has actually been a beacon of light in some way, shape, or form. He comes out of this season and everyone's like, oh my goodness, he's the Messiah, moving forward. But I don't think you should judge it like I think Kwanzaa's been better than both Harvey Elliott and Kobe Mainu, but he didn't even get, picked. So like I honestly, I'm with you, Jamie. 21 and under, just leave it at that. And you'll have enough players over a course of a season. Like there'll always be enough players in that age bracket because it's just how it is. So just leave it at 21 because Isaac's 24. Like I like Isak, by the way. I think he's a really top player, but 24, and you're gonna walk around telling people I won Young Player of the Year at 24 years of age.
That'd be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? That would be
a bit embarrassing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, nah.
there's only one player that should have won Young Player of the Year, and he should have been a million miles ahead of everyone, and that's Cole Palmer. Like,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah,
my
I agree.
God.
Cole Palmer. Yeah, I agree.
And he's 21.
Yeah, but this is what I'm
He's
saying.
just
Like,
turned
you have
22.
enough 21-year-old, or even if you want to say 21 before the season starts and you're 22, I'm sure there's enough 22 to and under players in the Premier League. Like,
I mean,
it's becoming ridiculous.
I mean, I think Conor Bradley's been better than Mainu. Like, if
Probably
you're talking about
has,
someone bursting onto the scene, like,
Probably has, man.
but
Listen.
Harvey Elliott's got 10 assists this season, by the way. Just thought I'd mention that. Like,
He's been better, in my
Can
opinion.
you name another 20-year-old for Liverpool that's done 10 assists in his second season?
Yeah, I think
From midfield?
I'm not even asking
Gerrard?
Harvey. The thing is, I'm not even asking Harvey
you
Elliott to. I'm not even asking Harvey Elliott to win the award. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying the nomination. I just feel
Be in
like
the conversation, yeah.
be in
Who
the
are
conversation.
nominations? Who we got?
I'll tell you right now. So they are Udogie, Saliba, Saka, Palmer, Manu, Isaac, Haaland, and Foden.
Yeah, well, that's why. Well, that's why he's not nominated. I mean, I agree with you guys. I think he's been better than Manu, but that's probably just
for me,
yeah, that's probably the only one.
Manu shouldn't be in there, right? Isaac shouldn't be in there because he's 24, right? So
yeah, okay.
I think what the PFA have done, they've looked at what Isaac's done this season. They think he should be in Player of the Year, but they got no room for him, so they bumped him into Young Player of the Year. That's basically that because they got Watkins in the Player of the Year instead, don't they? But I just feel like if you look at Young Player of the Year, Palmer should be in there. Foden's 23. I don't think he should be in there. Haaland's 22, which is mad, I think.
Sorry, what is the age, by the way? What is the age like? 23, I'm assuming.
It's 24 and under.
Oh, 24 and under. Flipping out.
So Udogie hasn't even been the best player in the Tottenham team. Like, Van der Ven should have been.
How old is Van der Ven?
There. Van der Ven's 22, I think.
Oh, wow.
Might be 21, 22.
This is what I'm saying.
I mean, I would just give it to Cole Palmer anyway, but
Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
100%.
Cole Palmer should be. So the Young Player of the Year nominees for me should be Cole Palmer, Harvey Elliott, Braithwaite. Who else can we think of? Like the proper young players.
If I say like, how old is Haaland?
I think Haaland should be. I think
23. I think Haaland is.
Yeah. So
yeah. You know what I mean?
Isn't Saka 20, 24, 20, 23, 24?
I feel like
Isn't Saliba 20, 23?
I don't know how old Saka.
You got to realize, you know what's crazy?
So many
Finding
players.
out that Guardiola could technically been involved.
Yeah, Guardiola's young enough as well.
Yeah, he should have been in there. I would say he should have been in there.
Yeah, but look at him. He looks like he's older than me. And
yeah, he looks. Yeah, that man looks like
he's had a half baked round.
He looks like he'd rip you in half. Do you know what I mean? He's only like 10. It's mad. I don't know how old Saka actually is. Let me have a look how old Saka is.
I want to say he's 22.
Saka's only 22, so Saka needs to be in there. So yeah.
I mean, Saliba should be in there, 100%. Like, he's been absolutely insane this season. Like, for them.
Yeah.
Like,
but you know what's crazy? He's been insane, but I think Gabriel's been better than Saliba this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well.
I think Gabriel's actually
Saliba's 23.
Older. Yeah.
Yeah, Saliba's 23.
23.
No, he's 22. He's 22.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's 23 now. He's 23 now. So yeah. So so Saliba, Braithwaite, Saka, Elliot, Gravadol, and Cole Palmer. Well, do we say that's a more legit Young Player of the Year?
Yeah, like if you just looked at it like that, I'll be like, well, that looks a bit more fair because then you could really.
Yeah. They're all 22 and under sort of thing, and they're all 22 and under sort of thing, and I would say that.
I think you've got to put Saka in there. Saka's had his best goal scoring season.
Yeah, so I did. I said that. Yeah, Saka's been.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But that'd be. I just feel like I think Braithwaite Everton's been fantastic. I think he's going to get a massive move.
It's a Man City.
Kwanzaa's been really good as well, but I don't think Kwanzaa's been better on Braithwaite, so I'd have Braithwaite over Kwanzaa. But Harvey Elliott, man, do you know Harvey? I just want to give Harvey Elliott some flowers, to be fair, man. I know people come for Harvey Elliott a lot because of that. What does he do tag? What does no? I would say, but I'm not comparing him to Bernardo Silva by any stretch of the imagination, right? Of course not. But you could ask, what does Bernardo Silva do? You know, because you look at his stats and stuff like that. It's not like wow, it hits you in the face sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? But he's a quality footballer. Are we living in a world now where we look at players and go, they must be doing something for my eyes to realise how good he is? Like what do you do tag? Because like I would like Xavi and Iniesta are better midfielders than Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard, right? Even though I'm going to say that as a Liverpool fan, right?
I thought that was common knowledge.
Yeah,
of course.
but a lot of the people wouldn't. Yeah, but Gerrard and Lampard's stats completely abolished. Their
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
But like Zidane's stats are nowhere near Gerrard's stats, sort of thing for goals and assists. But Zidane's a better footballer. So that what you do stuff all the time as a midfielder gets a bit. I don't know. I think Harvey's quite a good footballer, to be perfectly honest. I think he's technically a sound player. I think for a player that hasn't got a lot of pace in his game, I think he uses his body actually quite well. I think he's good on the ball. I actually think he's got a good final ball when he gets into the right positions. He's obviously got a shot on him, so he has scored a few goals. And I think we just
to see where he plays.
Yeah, I just think we forget how young he is at the end of the day.
No, I agree. I think I said this to somebody. I was like, I just think with him, it's just going to be interesting to see where he plays. Like, are we gonna? Because if he was, and we always say this, I know this is a stupid argument to make, but if he was in a Pep Guardiola team, I think you'd just see a better version because he'd play more to his style, which is one touch, two touch, popping the ball around.
Cultured. He's quite cultured.
More cultured. Yeah. So where he's been playing with like a Klopp guy, who's not really like, he's more about the intensity. Harvey can do that though. Harvey's very intense when he wants to be. When he comes off the bench, like to do that kind of riling people up. He can do all of that, but I feel like you take away from his game. That's why at times he can look lost in the midfield because you're like, the game might just pass you by, but you're not really, that's not your game. Your game is let's get on the ball and, play. And listen, I like Harvey. I think he's all right, but it's just, I don't know what happens to him next season because I'm like, where do you fit him in your team in a starting 11? But he is young, so maybe he doesn't mind sitting on the bench. So I don't know. You
don't have to rush Harvey.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think he's at Liverpool for years to come. Personally, I don't think you have to rush him. I think you build to him becoming something. I know everyone like Foden didn't need it, and Foden's the light years. I hate all this comparing stuff. Yeah, Foden could be generational and better than most midfielders in Europe already at his young age. Harvey's just Harvey. I don't care about like he's doing this and he's doing that. That don't bother me. Kev, what's your feelings on Harvey Elliott, man?
I love him. I absolutely love him because I remember when he first came in and he had a pathetic hairdo. I still don't like the one he's got at the minute. But oh well.
You don't like the perm? You're not having
no, not a fan. But he come in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I remember Henderson and Milner spoke about having to sort of, let him know that you don't do that here, and you might be a good player, but you're a good youngster, and that's all you are for now. You need to go out and make a name for yourself. And they nipped a lot in the bud, and they influenced his attitude. And his attitude right now is pretty impeccable. He looks like, and you've seen it more so this season, it looks like he absorbs the information from everybody around him. He looks like he really tries to learn from the senior players. We've heard about how close he is with Salah. And that's really aided the development in his game. He has played a lot as a sub this season, and he's come on and made an impact. And partially because the opposition are tired, yes. But also because he's watched the game. He's been focused and he's recognized where the space is, and he's come on and he's often just done the right things. Now, the things he's done are simple, but they're simple and effective, and when he has, played, he'll often just want the ball, get on the ball and keep it ticking over, keep it moving. And a big issue with that this season is our build-up being so slow. And he's actually been one player to kind of improve that. wants to get on the ball, wants to progress the ball forward, wants to play 1-2s and link up and do all of that. And so he's really come on leaps and bounds in that respect. The only thing I asked of him really from, his time at Liverpool is just to trust himself a bit more. He seemed like a player that knew he was good, but, went too far in the direction of get on the ball and just give it to someone who I know is better than me. And often that was Salah, whereas now it's the case of, no, I'm in the position. I'm on the edge of the 18-yard box. Don't worry, Salah. Let me put this ball into the box. Let me run on and take a shot. I back myself now, and I'm going to stand up and not just be a guy that's part of the team. I'm going to transition into one of the main guys in the team, and I think he'll continue to do that next season. So his development's been incredible. His attitude's been incredible, and he's popped up with some key moments this season. He's in the cups and in the league. So fair play to him. I really like him, and we spoke earlier about Núñez and the mindset and having that desire and that want to continually improve. I wish that he had what Elliot has in that respect, to be honest with you, because I could feel as optimistic about Núñez as I do about Harvey Elliott. And I watched him on the round table thing that he did with Linders and Gakpo and Klopp and stuff, and I didn't quite realise that how many rejections he had as a young kid. And
his size.
Yeah, and he was talking about how they got a Team GB sprinter into sort of training on how to improve his sprinting and his pace, and gave him some techniques as to how he could be quicker, knowing that he wasn't blessed with natural pace. And I think that obviously played a huge part into the sort of mindset he's got, because from early he's had people around him that have put time and effort into developing him as a player. So I think if he continues on the trajectory he's on, he might always be that player that you're like, oh, he's not elite at anything, but he's certainly going to be effective and have a good career. And that'll be a great thing for us to have, especially with him being a fan of the club as well. It will go a long way. So I hope that Slot recognises it. I hope they put him in a position where he can continue to flourish. And I think he's going to be a great asset to the squad, if he's not already.
Yeah, big shout, man. K-Mac?
I think Harvey Elliott's terrific. He was a bit of a scapegoat last season when basically we didn't have a midfield, and he was constantly put in a position where he had no help around him. I just think his game intelligence is insane. Like he's 21 years old. Like, I think people need to realise that he's played 150 games. His numbers could be better, but I would say a lot of that's probably not down to him, because I do think he creates quite a lot. It's just we haven't got people to put the ball in the onion bag at the moment. And he's been given a good run of games. Under Slot, I think Slot will love him. His attitude's fantastic. His intelligence is great. His adaptability, the way he's actually tailored his game, so he's actually better now, does more, works harder. In case anyone doesn't know, he runs more than any other player in the Liverpool team in games. That's just a fact.
Like, him and Szoboszlai, isn't it? Ain't it him and Szoboszlai?
It's him and Curtis Jones.
I know Szoboszlai's up there as well. I don't know whereabouts, but
his engine's just insane. Like, and all you have to do is just watch the Carabao Cup final. Like, he played 120 minutes full pelt. Like, absolutely incredible. 21 years old.
He's got a great attitude.
What he needs now is he needs recognition. Like, I feel like if he gets the recognition for what he's doing and how he's achieved at the club, then I think it will take him on to different levels. A little bit like Foden did. Foden was in the background, playing a bit part player for a long time.
Yeah, Pep did brilliant with him. No doubt.
And I think Slot can do the same.
It'll be interesting, man.
He's a real asset for England. Like, God knows why he hasn't been picked. But
I think Harvey Elliott's got a bright future. I don't care.
He plays for the under-21s, and he just looks like a man playing with kids. It's crazy.
He's a good footballer, man. I really rate Harvey Elliott. He's got a bright future, man. I just want to go through a few things that have just been breaking.
Cole Palmer's just scored as well, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. Paul Joyce has just said Jurgen Klopp was serious about handing Joel Matip a new deal this summer. That is what
I
Paul
feel like they
Joyce
keep
has-
throwing these jabs at Klopp. Like,
That's what Paul Joyce has just put
And
out.
we
I
didn't
don't,
want Nunes.
I don't know why Paul Joyce is putting all this out, but I have no idea. But yeah, it's a bit mental to me. Why?
yeah,
I believe it as well. To be fair, I do believe it because
Yeah.
we know he tried to give James Milner a new deal, and James Milner said it on Liverpool TV, and
Yeah.
you know it was got things. So I believe it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know why you're coming out of it now. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
good conversation pieces for content creators and that, obviously. Maybe that's what Paul's doing. Maybe he's thinking, you guys ain't got much to talk about in the summer and just go throw all this out for you so you can have great conversation pieces.
trying to help
But,
a brother out. I get it. I get it.
I mean, if Paul Joyce said this, I don't know, in November, you know, yeah, we could chat about it. Or it just feels a bit, it feels a bit
Messy.
vicious. It feels a bit vicious, don't it?
You know
It
why I
just
think
feels like,
You know why I think it's happening? Because Arnie Slot won't shut his gob at the moment. Like, just,
oh, Willie, he talks, man.
like,
He
just
talks. I
shut
love
up,
it.
mate. Like we need other news and not him.
The thing is, though, I've seen this on other people's shows, guys. A lot of people were saying Arnie Slot is the reason Liverpool's title challenge stopped.
How's that?
Because
Wow.
people think there's too much talk out there. Like Klopp said he's leaving, and then for some reason we'll let it all be known the managers we're talking to, them managers are now talking about it, the players are hearing about it, and it's dented the players' confidence, and that's the reason we come out of a title challenge. Do you guys think there's any credit to that? Should it have all been kept behind closed doors? The problem is, I go back from the source. You can't keep saying behind closed doors when the manager does a public national press conference to the world, basically, and tells them I'm leaving. Because the questions are going to be for the club every week. Who's going to be the new manager? So
Yeah.
don't
You know
go
what
back
I
to
thought?
don't go back to source. I mean, I don't think the players think like that either, do they?
No, I don't.
Time when Klopp announced he was leaving, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Like he's going to leave in the summer. He's probably going to want to make plans with his family, maybe move, back to Germany or wherever it is, right? So naturally, these things will be found out and it will get leaked, and it would have created a story and a distraction. So it's good that he approached everybody in the right order: the club, the players, and then the media through to get to the fans, right? And then I thought about it again. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. He's not doing anything after he leaves Liverpool. He's literally just living his own life, right? So why not just keep it literally between him and his wife and not say a single word until like the end of the season? Like, I know that he needed to inform the club so they can search for managers and this and that, but I'm just like, it probably could have been kept quiet, to be honest with you, and then it wouldn't have acted as a distraction. And I do think there's some merit in it. I think we should never use it as an excuse. We simply wasn't good enough. Like, let's just leave it as that. But I do think there's some merit
I think
in
it'll
it being
come
a
out.
distraction.
I think it will come out that Pep Lijnders let it slip.
Possibly, and I also think
come
if
out.
they wanted Edwards back in, who is obviously a really highly thought of figure in football, if they wanted him back in, they probably needed to get that going before he made too many moves in his own life and certain career and stuff. So I get it, but I do think there's a little bit of merit in the conversation that it served as a little bit of a distraction. I think it did. I think it did a little bit, and if it distracted us fans, then you've got to think it distracted the players somewhat, didn't it? It shouldn't have. We shouldn't use it as an excuse, but I think there would have been
Can I just touch on that? Can I just touch on that? And sorry, G, I know you want to talk as well, mate.
No. I wasn't going to
Look, the reason why we didn't win the league is because we're not good enough to win the league. We haven't been good enough for a long time to win the league. Like if you just look at the games and the numbers, like we haven't beaten good teams for a long time. So if we can't beat the good teams, then we're not going to win the league, and we draw too many games. Like that's just the fact. Like we draw 10 games this season. Like you won't win the league drawing 10 games. I think there's only one team that's drawn more than us, and that's Brighton. So it's where we are. Like Klopp announcing that he was leaving probably gave us a bit of a boost, by the way, and it probably did spur them on, which is probably why we had that massive run with all the kids in January, February, when we had half the team injured. That probably did help, like with the adrenaline and everybody like wanting to do it for Jurgen. But then we just ran out of steam, like, and we got all the new guys. We got all the guys that were injured back, and they hadn't really had enough time to integrate into the team. And he just played them all, like, and that's just dumb. It's just dumb. How do you expect a load of guys that have been injured to just come into the games when they don't do that normally? No team really puts all of their players that have come back from injury all in at once and expects a reaction, because you need time. You need time, and they weren't given it. That's the manager.
I agree. I personally feel like as well that I think the last few weeks the players have given up as well. Personally, I think they're looking at it and think, the manager's leaving. You know, Pep Linders has been appointed RB Salzburg manager for next season. That's already done. So he's obviously been talking behind the scenes in the last few months about the Salzburg job that the players already probably knew. You know, I just feel like the players are fuck this shit. So it's done, ain't it? You know, and I don't think the players are giving 100% right now. But I just feel like anyone, like the conversation, we live in a digital age now where everything's online, everything gets leaked. We find out all the information. As soon as Klopp said, I'm leaving, we're all talking about it 24/7, even till this day. Now we know the bloody new manager is, we're still talking about it. So there's got to be conversations. Now, should Arne Slot maybe go, I can't answer this question at the moment? Probably, but he's very happy to talk about it. I ain't gonna lie, guys.
Shut up.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, though. The more I listen to Arne Slot, the more I actually like him.
He's talking about transfers. He's not even confirmed yet.
The more I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you feel about this, but the more I listen to him in press conferences and that, the more I actually like the guy. The more, you know, I like the way he talks, he talks about football, you know, the way he carries himself. I don't know about you, Chi. I just like. I actually like the guy. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I just,
He
seems
very likable. He seems very likable.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. I'm just more excited. I just want to see him come in. I'll be honest. I actually just want to see him come in.
Jay can't wait for this, by the way.
In a helicopter. I want to see him coming in a helicopter.
Do that. Like, you know what? We need a bit more like fun in the Premier League. I don't mind you doing, you know, that kind of stuff. I just want to see him come in. Like, I'm waiting for that day when he comes in, and then we're looking at what's he even like. Obviously, we know the first press conference and all that stuff. That's all cute. I'm more looking at what's he like. Obviously, I know people watch the inside training. I don't really watch it, but I know a lot of people do. So I want to know what's he like in those kind of things. What's he like? The most important thing I want to see, something that I noticed with Jurgen, was that during like bad periods, what is he like? What's he like in those situations? It's all well and good. Yeah, he does all this good stuff, but every manager goes through a bad period, or you lose a game or two. What are you like in those kind of moments? Is he going to be salty? Is he going to be someone who's going to come out to the media? And, you know, we saw Ange at the beginning of the season winning manager of the month. You're right, mate. Did all this kind of stuff. As soon as Tottenham started losing, you saw, it's not even like he changed. You just saw the other side of him. And some people now are like, oh, he's a little, like we saw it the other day, the interview and all that stuff. You're like, oh, he's a little bit testy, you know, kind of thing. So you're like, okay, that's what I want to see, you know, from him more than anything, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm listen, you know me, I'm excited. So let's just get the ball rolling now.
Why is it taking so long anyway?
I don't know, you know. That's a good question.
I think they're literally just waiting for final. The Liverpool have their last game this weekend because they finished on the same day.
That's good. Yeah, sorry.
The assistant manager has quit his Dutch job now, ain't he? Because he was meant to be the assistant manager for the Netherlands at the Euros. He's quit that now, so he can join Arne Slot this summer early. So it looks like everything's getting in place. I think literally after the games on Sunday, sometime next week, we'll get it'll all be announced. But Cav, your feelings on Arne Slot anyway, because I ain't spoken about you about this. What do you feel about it? I think it's Liverpool's biggest ever gamble in the Premier League era, personally. But I'm also because I know people will go about Hodgson and Brendan Rodgers, but Liverpool are in a different place then. You know, this is, you know, where we are now is completely different. But since we've been, I don't know about you guys, since we've heard about Arne Slot, I've been watching his final teams quite a bit, taking a keen interest in him. He's new to the game, but, you know, if you look at when he was at AZ Alkmaar, look at his final teams, his coaching ability looks really top notch. I like the way he talks and presents himself. You know, he actually, like, everyone keeps comparing the Ten Hag comparisons. If you put Arne Slot and Ten Hag next to each other and both listen to them, Arne Slot is far more engaging. Far more engaging. Well, how do you feel about it, Cav? Are you excited? Are you nervous? How are you feeling?
I've got to be honest, I'm pretty confident with this moving forward, but I'm more confident because of everybody else we've brought in as well. To be honest with you, I do think Edwards is a great businessman and footballing man, and I think they're difficult. Those two things are quite difficult to find in today's footballing world. You get a good businessman, but they're more concentrating on making money, and that money doesn't always get invested back into the teams correctly. Whereas I think he's good at both. I think he understands football. I think he understands the direction football's going in. He's got his finger on the pulse with regards to regulation changes, rule changes, how players are developing now, what we're asking of players, in particularly sports science and fitness. And I just think that the analytical approach brings all those factors into play, and he ultimately makes good footballing and business decisions, and was able to really get some great players for us. So I'm confident because he's coming back into the fold. I know a bit of a different role, he's overseeing a lot more, but he's got his men, you know, that he wants around him. He's got his you know, he's got his team around him to go and do that. So I think we'll be better in the market, and that ultimately means that we'll have.
Oh, hang on, he's still there. There he is.
I'm back. I think they've picked out the manager, and I think there's going to be a real cohesiveness between the style of play that we want and finding the players to suit that. Trying to find young players that are on the cusp of breaking out, and all of these kind of things. I think it's going to blend really well, and I think everybody's going to play their part. Slot might not be the best at everything, but he doesn't necessarily need to be. He just needs to be good at recognising what direction the club's going in, what sort of system they want to play, relaying that to the scouting team, and just all pulling in the same direction and profiling these players correctly. So I'm excited about that. He seems all right as a guy, to be honest with you. I'm not, he's not as charismatic as a Klopp and others.
Well, that's going to be difficult, ain't it?
Let's
be fair.
But he seems okay. But it's an important thing, because we know that the fans for Liverpool play a huge part, especially when we're back in the Champions League. You know, them European nights under the lights, and you need that crowd on side, and the manager plays a key part in that. So he's got to have that relationship with the fans, which it looks like he's got a bit about him to be able to create that. And then stylistically, he looks similar to Klopp with a little bit more flexibility in what he does. So I'm excited, and I'm excited for the change. And I think we've got great ability, and like I say, I believe in the guys above him to work together and only pushes forward. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't know loads about him, but I was pretty resigned to us getting a manager that wasn't a dead cert, because they're not really out there, are they? You know, whoever we get comes with an element of anxiety and you know, yes, they may have had a good season, maybe an incredible season, but it's only one good season, and they've not got many other years behind them. So they're always going to have them question marks. And I think you raised a great point, G, where it's like these coaches have got a name because they've had good careers up until this point and good seasons with these teams. But have they gone through difficult times? Have they gone through periods where the team have got, you know, aren't listening to what the manager wants, isn't able to do what the manager wants? What do they fall back to in those situations? Do they have any non-negotiables? Do they have a style that they switch back to? Do they change their man management slightly? Do they bring in a different coach? That's something that Klopp did before. You know, he brought in, you know, a psychologist in our title-winning season, and all these kind of things. How flexible is the manager in that respect? Because yes, you're managing football players, but you're managing people as well. And footballers have to be happy to be performing, So there's a lot of things that go into management, which we aren't going to know until he's here and he's doing it. And you're not going to see it in the first season. You're going to see it over a period of time. But hopefully in that time, it's good enough to be successful, which look, I think we're going to be. Whether we're going to win leagues, I don't know. We're still up against Man City, who, don't look like they're going away anytime soon, even with the charges. And Arsenal, you think, are probably going to sustain where they are at, and maybe bring some more quality players into that squad. You'd think that maybe United would get better, Chelsea would get better and stuff. So are we better than the tier 2 teams that are going to finish above us after next summer? I'm not too sure, but we will be there or thereabouts, regardless of Klopp being here or not, I think. So
no, I'm with you.
I'm optimistic, and I think everyone should be. Some people might be fearful because Klopp's all that we've known for a long time, but change is good. Change is good.
I agree, man. I'm looking forward to next season. I can't lie. I've just seen some mad. Paul Joyce is going mad tonight. So apparently he's talking about now that he wanted to give Bobby and Firmino and Milner a new contract last season as well, and he wanted to keep them. I don't know what Paul
coming out now, innit?
I don't know.
This is all stuff that we know Klopp did with his sentimentality and his loyalty.
A lot of people don't believe it, though, do they? That's the problem. Right, last thing.
Can I touch on Slot, by the way? I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So the thing which I'm more excited about, more than anything else, is we're going to have a manager which is going to let the people who are experts do their job now, as in the transfer department, the scouts, the coaches. He's gonna concentrate on what he's really good at, and he's going to concentrate on the team, on the tactics, on the training pitch. Because I'm sorry, but we have not been doing anything on the training pitch for the last 2 years, because I don't see improvement in any of the senior players. Our set pieces have gone to shit. When things go wrong and you have a setback, you go back to the training pitch and you try and change things and make things better. We don't seem to be doing any of that. We don't improve in the areas that we seem to be failing in, and we have been for the last 2 years. So I want someone who's going to do that now and have time to do that. And I feel like the whole setup with the way the club is going to be run, Slot will have the time and the team around him to concentrate on what matters the most. And guess what matters the most? Winning bloody football matches, not having bloody good relationships with players. And the good thing that I hear from Slot is he spends so much time working on the setup of the team before the game that he feels like the game's already won. And the players feel like the game's won before they get onto the pitch. And all we do right now over the last 2 years is go a goal behind when we start the game in the first 15 minutes, like every single game. And the mentality in the players is we're going to concede, we're going to concede, we're going to concede. Oh, we conceded. And the fans feel like that too. And that's where the optimism is. That needs to stop. And I think with Slot, it will.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next season. There's no doubt. Last thing before we leave.
Can't wait to see Dominic Szoboszlai play attacking midfield.
It would help. Big honesty with the super. It says off-topic question: does everyone think Jude will win the Ballon d'Or? But what if Florian Wirtz wins the treble and the Euro? Surely he's going to win Ballon d'Or. I don't.
If Jude wins the Champions League, then it trumps it.
Yeah, I don't think Germany are going to win the Euros. With the Ritz thing, if he was playing for Real Madrid, I do think it depends where you play. I just don't see him giving him a Ballon d'Or for a team that plays a Bayer Leverkusen. I also think Vinicius Junior is the odd-on favourite to win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean, Jude Bellingham, I think, might be top 3. but I think it'll be Vinny Jr. What about Ritzlow? You know, he's had a great
good
season.
player.
Had a good season, G. There's talks about him and him going to Real Madrid.
Who aren't Real Madrid signing? You know what I mean? Listen, man, Wirtz is you're talking about one of the best players, you know, out there in the world, and he's so young. Like that's what I think everyone wants to have, that type of player who's so young, but he's already one of the best players in the world in his position. So fantastic player. I'm kind of with you though. I think Jude looks like he just got great PR at the moment, but I'm looking at Vinny and I'm thinking, why not Vinny? Like, why wouldn't Vinny be someone that you would choose as the best, you know, for Ballon d'Or? Like, you know, I mean, Mbappe's there as well. Mbappe could only really get it if France win the Euros, though, I believe.
Oh, you don't want to hear my Mbappe thing. I'll get cancelled.
Yes, listen, but it's
I
just
think Mbappe's slightly overrated, personally.
You could
personally, I think Kobe Mainoo will get it.
Yeah, Kobe Mainoo's just scored for Man United, by the way.
Yeah. Mainoo scored, Palmer scored. Like that's a typical evening, right? I think what I said this on Enzo's show earlier on. Yeah, I said what we're seeing though with this is that they actually now have to think. Like it's not, you know, usually before we had Messi, Ronaldo, so you just picked whoever had a good season between the two. It was always going to be those two. There was never another option. Now they actually have to think like, crap, who do we actually choose now? Like, who do we go for? Because I don't think, and Enz mentioned it himself, I don't think there's been an outstanding player, like one guy where you're like, he has been, you know.
Enz mentioned himself for Ballon d'Or. That is not a shot.
No. He mentioned that there's not been a player like
No.
stood out like.
No,
Hey, don't put words in my mouth. I don't want him to start shouting at me.
You said it. Enz mentioned himself in the run.
I mean,
Enz would mention himself too.
The Ballon d'Or winner for me, without a shadow of a doubt, should be Rodri. Like, you know, just pound for pound.
Maybe it's again. I'm not going to say no.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I think Rodri's
he's just the best player. Like, he's just the best player. Like, scored the Champions League winner as well. Like last year to get them the treble. Like, he's just the best player.
Is there a more disrespected player than Rodri right now? Because when it comes to awards and Player of the Years and individual accolades and all that, he's never given that. And I just look at it, I think it's mad. You know, he hasn't lost 18 months of Man City or whatever it is. Mad like that. What is there? I can't remember what it is. It's just mad.
I think he's only 26 as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Even like an old guy.
Oh, fucking hell, we've got more years of him.
Yeah,
and he's only 26, I think.
And he's the only guy who plays with his shirt tucked in, and it's pristine. Have you noticed that?
Like that
his shirt is tucked in at the beginning of the game, and it's pristine at the end of the game.
I reckon he eats sandwiches with a knife and fork.
Yeah.
He seems like a simple kind of guy. Yeah, he doesn't really.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you got that fella opposite you and he's eating a burger and chips with a fork, and you're like, "What?
Yeah, it's
going on? What's
going
on? Get messy, man." But guys, let's go end the top 5 show. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone joining. Thank you, my esteemed panel. Big up the cab making his return. Much love, my friend. G, my man. Thank you for joining me. K-Mac, my number 2. Thank you for joining me as well. Ben as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, Enz couldn't make it proper busy, but big up to Enz as well. And obviously, Sadiq had joined us.
We don't need Enz anyway.
The Darwin chat might have gone on for a bit more of Enz. Yeah. Guys, really do appreciate it. All the links are in the chat for all the channels and people's accounts and all that, so make sure you go and follow them and subscribe to them and all that good stuff, guys. Until then, when this video ends, you go to This Is Football, so make sure you go over to This Is Football and give a Sam a big hello from Jamie's community. Big up to you guys. Thank you very much. See you again later at midnight. We'll be live again at midnight. Bye for now.
There you go.